Hi, all. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum, and today is Thursday, December 27th, 2018, and you're watching WGAN-TV live at 5. Our topic today is why do Matterport service providers love photo and video edits.com and founder Colin Forte. And hey, Colin, good to see you. And we have a little love fest for you, I think, planned today. We have Stephanie on the call with us today, and Kevin in our virtual studio audience. Good to see you, Stephanie.
Hi, Dan.
And good to see you, Kevin. Good to see you, Kevin.
Hello.
Hello. So Stephanie Dolliff is the co-founder of Wicked 3D. Wicked Awesome 3D. I should know that because you've been a member of the We Get Around Network Forum, I want to say, for probably 4 years, been a long time. So forgive me for stumbling on that. And you and your partner cover 2 different geographic areas. Today you're in the Boston area and your partner is in the Cary, North Carolina area. So you cover, I want to say, Nashua, New Hampshire, Barnstable, Mass.
Yep, Barnstable, Mass, down on the Cape. Yep.
Cool. And then Kevin Doyle, media content creator, Home 3D is your company. I want to say in the greater Los Angeles area that's covering Calabasas, Malibu, Sherman Oaks.
Yeah, areas as far east. Well, I've worked as far east as out to Palm Springs and Indio, which is a 3-hour drive. not often.
Okay.
South to Orange County, but most of the work is around Hollywood, Beverly Hills, the San Fernando Valley, the Thousand Oaks, Westlake, and Malibu.
Cool. And then Colin Forte, the founder of photo and video edits.com. And Colin's also the founder of Home Takes, a Matterport service provider business in the greater Palm Beach area. I think for context for today's show, before I start asking you some questions specifically about photo and video edits, maybe we just start with Stephanie. Could you tell us about the different services that you provide other than Matterport? I know that you're a Matterport service provider. That's certainly obviously how we've all met and have connected in the We Get Around Network Forum community. But I imagine that you offer services other than Matterport too.
Absolutely, certainly. Yeah, Matterport is a great service, of course. We've really built our company off of offering, a bundle or a package of services. We do your professional photography, of course, Matterport, the floor plans. We are FAA certified aerial drone pilots as well, too. So we do aerial photography. We are now also doing videography as well, too, as of 2018. Interior, exterior videography, a couple other, smaller services, single property websites, virtual stage, all sorts of fun stuff like that. So
that is wicked awesome.
Thank you. Yes,
wicked awesome. And Kevin, how about you?
The same litany of services, and forgive me, Dan, I'm going to correct you one thing. All my life I've been introduced as a last name Doyle, even though it's D-O-L-E. It's just like the pineapple company. It's Dole.
Dole, forgive me. I just assumed. Forgive me.
It's
Dole.
Quite all right. It's extremely common. I've lived my entire life as do my kids now. It's Doyle is a more common last name. So I mean Doyle. So it's natural.
Dole, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting us know, because you've been a We Get Around Network Forum member, standard member forever, and I've just made that assumption.
No, that's quite all right.
Yeah. Wow.
And sadly, I'm not related to the fruit company, nor the former Senator Bob Dole or any of those famous entities.
Okay, so now I'm on the Dole. Tell us about
exactly.
Home 3D.
I came to this business. For many years, I worked as a television commercial director. So I come from the film business, and I started out doing high-end production videos for high-end properties in Malibu and Bel Air and Beverly Hills and things like that. And I've done still photography all my life, so I started doing still photography for real estate as well. When Matterport came along, I'd been keeping an eye on those developments. And when Matterport came along, I said, okay, time to step into this walk through 3D stuff, because I was very impressed with the technology. Started doing that. And of course, we do have drone work. I have a drone pilot partner who does that work. And I likewise am a huge fan, having been introduced by your forum, of course, huge fan of Ross Peterson's W3D system. And I deliver all my work through the single property websites that his system develops.
With WP 3D models.
Correct. WP 3D models.
That's WP3Dmodels.com.
Yeah. And I started using Colin's service about 5 months ago, something like that. And I had previously been using other services based in India, and I've found Colin's, I'm jumping ahead here, but I found Colin's work to be better, more competitive, just a huge step up for me in every respect. So it's been great. A lot of times when I get busy, I couldn't have survived. I couldn't have survived sanely without the work that Colin's staff provides.
And why is that?
Well, I find like when I do still photography, in the past I've gotten very proficient with Lightroom and with Photoshop, and every photo I shoot in RAW. I use the Sony A7S II, which I like very much. And those photos, I push all the photos through Lightroom and then take them into Photoshop for pixel resolution work. The work, I quickly found that the time involved in correcting the interior shots in particular was just prohibitive for the price at which agents will compensate photographers for doing this kind of work. Even when doing high-end properties worth multi-millions, most agents are still very, very, let's say, cost conscious. There's other words that could be used, but I couldn't deliver the work cost effectively at the quality level that I expected, doing particularly the interior shots myself. I often still finish most exterior shots myself, but they're far easier to do than the interior work, where you bracket it over, sometimes bracketing over 12 or more f-stops in extreme situations. And Colin's people have been just fantastic putting these together. I've got some samples set aside to share.
Why don't you take us through your samples, Kevin?
Okay, I'll hit the share button, see if I can make this work.
Incidentally, while Kevin's doing that, this show came about because there were so many people posting in the We Get Around Network forum these love letters to photo and video edits.com and to its founder, Colin Forte, that I thought it might be nice to actually do a show where some of our We Get Around Network forum members show and tell or about what their experience is. I think when you watch the show, particularly, if photo editing and editing photos and video is not your thing, or you're seeking a way to scale your Matterport service provider business, or you want your workday to end at 6 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night instead of into the wee hours, I think it's helpful to see some professional photographers, talk about why they've moved to photo and video edits.com. And so, Kevin, you've called up some pictures. Why don't you talk a little bit about maybe before and after? I guess you've shot the pictures and then you send them off to photo and video edits.com. And
exactly.
So can you show and tell us what you got there?
Yeah, right. So you've got my desktop on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I've done here is I've selected a range of shots. When I shoot, I'm always shooting in the Sony RAW format, ARW, and what I upload as I go through the,
Now, I would say these look like your before because your windows and doors are all blown
yeah.
out and your verticals look a little bit not quite straight. So, yeah. Okay.
Whoop. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Go back live for go back to you for a moment.
Okay. Looks like Kevin's backdrop has come
My
down live
backdrop
television, but he'll work it out some way. We thought it was a beautifully clean studio, but I guess we can see some.
It was not. It was
not. Well, you can continue as is if you want. It's fine with us.
Well, let me set up the. Let me.
Okay, well, that's fine. Incidentally,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, no, it's fine because I'm not on. You've got my desk, my screen there. It's fine. I'll fix that later when somebody else is talking.
Okay. So there's a before.
This is a before shot. So this is raw footage, and what I've chosen here for reference is the JPEG version, since I'm shooting raw and JPEG at all the times. This is the JPEG of the best the best of the bracketed set, so to speak.
And are you shooting 3 bracketed, 4 bracketed?
It depends. Occasionally
3 to 5 bracketed.
I'd say typically I'm shooting 3 or 4, and that those 3 or 4 are separated by 2 stops on average, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In this case, well, first I've got some pairs. So what you're looking at right now is the most acceptable of the bracketed ones if you had to go with a single JPEG shot.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the finished version of that same. It came back from Alan's service.
It's different of night and day. So,
exactly.
We've got the vertical straightened. The windows look nice.
You can even see detail up in this upper window here. It's bright as it should be for reality's sake, but it's a blue sky and an outline of the wing of the house that is visible there. Of course, the parallels have been corrected, and the wide angle lens that I shoot with has a little bit of barrel distortion, so that's corrected as well. Here's some other examples. This particular home has very, very high ceilings in the living room and entry, so there's a lot of keystoning. And here's the finished version.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a difference. It's quite amazing. Yeah.
This home had a large private theater. In this case, it's not quite as dramatic, but you could see that in the single exposure, the curtains to the side of the projection screen fall almost to black. And of course, there's detail in the finished version, and Colin has also put in an image onto the screen.
I love that when he says Colin did that, because Colin, I think if anyone has watched any of our shows with Colin, you'll know that, he's not a photographer, he's not an editor, he's never touched any of these tools, and yet he's run a multi-photographer Matterport service provider photo video editing business in West Palm. I think, God, there's so many stories we could tell about Colin's history of getting there. But Colin, you probably just love it when somebody says, and Colin did this.
Yeah, well, Colin does all this stuff. He doesn't sleep, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're definitely right on that one there, Kevin. I don't get a lot of sleep. That's what I'll definitely own that one. No question.
But it's I think Colin would be the first one to raise his hand to say, that's amazing. We do that. That's terrific.
Yeah,
I don't do that personally.
I don't remember. I must have done that in my sleep then.
In this hallway shot, you can see the little bit of barrel distortion that the wide angle lens that I shoot with causes. These verticals on the sides have a little bit of bowing to them, and that's all been straightened out in the finished shot. You can also see that the light level, because of skylights in this foyer, is quite a bright. It's not a bad exposure in the center portion, but the rooms to the right, there's a dining room. To the left, there's the living room, and the exposures are greatly different. So that all had to be evened out. Here's the living room in this same home itself. You can see the windows out on the patio are completely blown out. And the bar on the back on the right is really dark and has no detail. I've ordered these sequences of shots from the simple to the more complex as we go through. Here's a kitchen. There's the incandescent lights. There's a lot of yellow tints of the room, and the windows in the back to the backyard are completely blown out. It's all been properly and pleasantly corrected. Also, you can see that there's a fire in the fireplace in the background family room, as well as an image on the screen built into the cabinetry in the back. There again from before and after. Here's another view of that same family room. You can see the keystoning because the camera position is a little bit higher. You can look out onto the covered patio, which is blown out, and the windows in the background. And there again, fireplace, screens, and everything outdoors is nicely balanced. This is the master bath in this house, window completely blowing out. The master bedroom was particularly difficult because it had dark wood, dark colored walls and so forth. The window on the left completely blown out. And here I'm showing the bracketed. Here's the exposure for the exterior window on the left. And there's the finished shot that came back. So it was from this and this put together to that. Of course, even in this one, of course, what Colin was sent was the raw photograph, so a lot of detail could be pulled out of the dark areas. Here is a shot of the living room, tall ceiling again, and this one was particularly difficult. If you look at the window on the far right, greenery outside the window is not bad. It's pretty good. Likewise, the window slightly to the right. To the left of the fireplace, the first floor windows are a bit overblown. And if you go up to the upper left, there's just no detail whatsoever. It's just completely flashed out. So in this case, there was this photograph, which was opened up through Lightroom to get to this as far as the room is concerned. But there were multiple exposures for different levels of, you can see I had to go this dark in the main exposure in order to pull sky detail from the upper windows because they were so much brighter than the rest. You can see the transitions here to get. So in this case, Colin's staff combined for different windows, different parts of different bracketed exposures were assembled together in order to come up with this final shot.
And your verticals are beautifully fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
This dining room was a particular challenge because it was painted with a very deep blue on the walls. And at the same time, if you look down the lower left, there's direct sunlight pouring in onto the floor. And despite how dark most of this exposure looks, that's completely blown out on the floor. The detail in the oriental rug is gone. So exposures, this exposure that's how far down I had to go in exposure in order to pull some detail in the raw photograph off of the rug where the direct sunlight was hitting it, and also to get a proper exposure for the backyard and the distance beyond the family room. So there were these three were put together to come up with that, which is a pretty dramatic difference. This is the best of the JPEGs and the transition afterwards.
It's awesome.
This one is a particularly interesting example because in this case, I was in the living room framing for essentially a sort of a proscenium doorway to the foyer, the front door beyond. The foyer has multiple skylights, so it's very brightly lit, whereas the living room is not. And I had to start with this exposure, and then down in order to get a proper exposure for most of the foyer, but even the upper corners of the wall there are still burning out. This was good for the upper corners of the foyer wall, and way down to here in order to pull detail off the textured beveled glass to either side of the front door. So there's 4 different exposures, all raw photographs, so that they could individually be taken through Lightroom to spread out. And the finished photograph is this, which is a pretty dramatic difference. So, Colin, I'm a fan.
Terrific. Kevin, if you could take us off the screen sharing.
If I figure out how do you do that again?
Up top?
Up top. Oh, there. Okay. Off screen share. Yeah.
Cool. And so Kevin, talk a little bit about why you don't.
I'm gonna put my background back up.
Okay, he's gonna put his background back up. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll come back to him in a moment, but I did want to say, if you all stay with us, through the show, during the show, we'll talk about 3 different special offers for you. One for WGAN, for We Get Around Network Forum members, a second one for We Get Around Network Standard and Premium members, and then a third one about getting a free before and after photo widget slider. So if you stay tuned, we'll talk about that. So Kevin, I think I've sufficiently talked over the set.
Good.
Getting back up.
Exactly. Actually, it's a great flashback to Pee Wee, because if you remember Pee Wee's Playhouse, he had a video phone room, and he would jump into it when the phone would ring and pull down a screen so it looked like it was on a beach in Jamaica or something.
Yes. And you used to work with Pee Wee Herman, which is another story for another day, but we certainly can appreciate the reference to that. So
I need to improve my backdrops. Pee Wee had better ones.
We'll get you there in terms of making some more money to spend.
Upgrade my studio. Yes.
So what I wanted to ask you, you obviously know how to edit photos. Why aren't you editing your photos yourself? Why are you paying money to have somebody else do it for you?
Because Colin's team does it as well, and I'd say even sometimes better. And when I'm busy, I don't have the time to. And from a business standpoint, I can't afford the time to do the job that his people do. He undercuts my skill. What can I say?
I don't understand. You don't have the time to edit pictures?
The time it would take me to do the post-processing of these still photographs to the quality level that his team delivers on a regular basis is not cost effective. Whether my time is spent doing additional shoots or whether my time is spent in sales, spreading the message to bring in more business, it's just not cost effective to put the time into particularly the interior shots for me.
So I think I heard 3 things. One, you'd rather have the time to either do more shoots, meaning you're making more money, doing business development so that you're making more money.
Yeah.
Or 3 is even the level of editing can exceed your skill level, even though you're an expert at photo editing yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
I can add a 4th one there. That even if you didn't have 1, 2, and 3, there is something else that the amount of time that it does take, if you've been out doing shoots all day, you don't have any time left for your family or your friends or whatever for the evening. So your sanity from not just working 18
Absolutely.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
we're going to come to Stephanie in a moment. But Kevin, I just want to do a little bit more follow-up because I want to say before there was photo and video edits.com, you outsourced to yet another service.
Yes. Yeah. I was using an outsourced service that did basically the same thing.
You can mention the name. We're fine with that if you want to say.
Yeah. Well, I tried a couple. Most of the work I was sent to Flat World Solutions in India, and they did a good job. They did not do as consistent a job from photo set to photo set as Colin's team delivers. About every third or fourth shoot, there would, the photo sets that I would send in would go obviously to, as presumably is the case with Colin's group as well, they would go to a different photo editor, and sometimes it would come back great. Sometimes it would come back, and I'd have to, contact him back and say, these don't compare to the ones that were delivered last week. Please send it to the other group, or try again. I have on occasion I have had a single photo or a couple photos out of a set where I've needed to ask Colin to send them back for a reprocessing, but it has been rare with Colin's service, and I would say at least 3 out of 4, maybe 4 out of 5 of the sets that I send to Colin, and it's usually about, usually 30 shots or more, 30 to 40 shots. 4 out of 5 of those sets come back, and there's not a single thing that I need done, tweaked.
Cool. I'm going to come back. I got a ton more questions for you, Kevin, but I want to jump in with Stephanie. And
please.
I'm sure Colin will probably have some comments about some things that you said. Hey, Stephanie, I want to read something that you wrote in the We Get Around Network forum.
Sure.
This is you writing. I have been putting off adding a review here, meaning the We Get Around Network forum, for the simple fact that I want this service all to myself. These guys are amazing, so fast, so responsive, and amazing quality photos. I send a couple jobs a day to them, and they are consistent and fast. I have also reached out and spoken to Colin a couple of times, and he is so responsive and always on the ball. I have only had to request one minor change once and received all photos back again within the hour. Can't express enough how quick, easy, and great quality I find this service. Thank you for photo and video edits. Did Colin write this and send this to you?
Yeah. No. Nope. That's.
Are you on the dole that you wrote this? That was a little play on Kevin's last name there. I try very hard.
Feel free anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I've for many of the same reasons as Kevin, we use an editing service. I think we jumped right on when Colin started photo and video edits, and right off the bat, I was really impressed. The same thing. I have kids. I have a family at home. We work through the day shooting, and then I just want to come home. I upload to Colin, and I don't think about it again. I wake up the next morning, I return the photos, and it's quick, it's easy. It's dependable. I mean, 100% dependable. I know when I wake up in the morning, the photos are going to be there, which is great. And again, I think consistency is huge too, with me. And then of course I have my partner as well. And I have a couple other photographers. We each have an additional 1 or 2 photographers that we send out on different shoots. And we have clients who have been with us for a couple years now, and I have to be able to give them consistency. So with Colin, I was able, initially when we went in and set up our membership with photo and video edits, I could, describe, I could show him pictures, I could show him, how we want them to come out consistently. And he, his service always meets that mark, no matter whether it's me or one of my other photographers shooting. They all come out very consistent. And I think that's huge. And I think that's what's helped us to really keep our base clientele throughout the years. So it's great.
What were you doing before photo and video edits.com?
Oh, goodness. Initially when we first started our company, we've been going, 3, maybe 4 years now. So we're pretty new. We really started with photos and Matterport. When we first started, we were doing a lot of the editing ourselves. And my partner's a great editor, but I'm not, and I really don't have the patience for it. And again, I wanted to be with my kids in the evenings. So I quickly jumped on and started to find different things. We tried Box Brownie. We tried a couple other different services, and I never found the consistency that I wanted. And I just wasn't always happy. Some of the photos would be good. Some of them would be like, oh no, what's going on here? And then I always wonder how Colin does it, because I know you don't just have one editor there, but it seems like every single job comes out consistently very, very good. And with like Box Brownie or something, I could tell if they were using a different editor that day or if they were doing something different. But photo and video edits just stays very consistent, which is great.
Colin, you want to comment on that?
I don't mind sharing that. I will share the secret sauce to that, because before I go into anything, research. And sorry, Dan, is it my turn?
Yes, please do. I think Stephanie is curious about what is at the moment. It feels like, well, there has to be more than one photographer there, but the quality all comes back as if it was the same editor. The quality comes back as if it was just the same editor all the time. That's, I think, what I'm hearing, Stephanie.
Right. So anyway, research. Before I opened the doors to photo and video edits, before I even started on getting the website done, I wanted to see how all of the other outsourcing companies, what their fundamental business plan is. And so that's what I very first started off with. I'd been doing outsourcing for years with home takes. I was I'm not going to say I was the first, but I know I was one of the first. I've had home takes since 2005, and I think I started outsourcing in 2008. So I've been doing it for at least 10 years. So I've had I've been through all the ups and downs of trying an outsourcing company from a different country, with the language barrier and all the rest of the long stuff that goes along with that. So, but fast forward to the photo and video edits and being in that business, I looked at how the other companies, namely, I was looking at the two biggest competitors in the United States, because I realized that a lot of the frustration from photographers was from actually dealing with somebody overseas, different culture, different language, English maybe not so good, and zeroed in on Fixer and Photo Up because they were American based. You know, if you had a phone call, you'd get an American or a first language English speaking person on the phone, and they were dealing with, you know, let's not say the word headaches, but they were dealing with the outsourcing from overseas. And so I pretty much looked and saw, okay, what are these guys doing? Who are they using? And I found that both companies had set up their own companies outside of the US and had employees. And most of the outsourcing companies that any photographer ends up finds a company who has employees. And right there, the light bulb went off, and I said to myself, well, you know, as good as employees can be, they're never as good as anybody that works for themselves. People that work for themselves, you know, they're generally the go-getters that want to earn more money, and they know that if they don't do a good job, well, then they're not going to get given any more work. So there's less profit in this business model for me. But one of the things that I learned with home takes, you know, unless you're an absolute artist like you, Kevin, Hollywood background, film quality production that can do a phenomenal production. You know, home takes couldn't get anywhere near the sort of production quality that you do, but we don't want to do that because it was a market that I didn't know. I didn't have the skill set to even from an outsider's, even from a non-photographer, videographer standpoint, of even knowing how to get the kind of quality that you can get. So I always said to myself, well, the money tends to be in the masses. And so I always zeroed in on getting the price down to as low as I could for the masses. So getting back to the photo and video edits, it's like the business model behind that was, well, the money's in the masses. So even though I might only be making just a tiny little bit, if I get lots and lots and lots and lots of them, well then, hopefully I'll see a decent profit from that. So I'm not greedy with what the subcontractors that I use get paid. I don't take very much difference between what I get paid from you guys to what they get. So they're on good money. They're on much, much better money than they would be if they were working for an editing company that would be doing outsourcing for the rest of the people. So I get better quality work because they know if they don't give me what it is that they got to give me, well, guess what? You're off the list. And I've done that in the short space of time that I've been open. I'm like, sorry, thanks for playing, but you're out of here. I have the ability that when I get a new editor, that once they've uploaded, because so much of this is done by automation in the sense of when the editors upload the photo set, the email automatically goes out to you guys, that says, hey, your photos are ready. Of course, that can't be a manual thing. So, but what I built into it was, let's say I get a new editor, and they're doing their first set of edits. There's no way in hell that first set of edits is going to go directly to that customer until I've looked at them. So I built into the system, approved by admin. And so when he uploads them, it sends me an email that says, hey, he's finished these photos. I go log on to my super admin and I check them. Yep. Nope, that's not good. Reject. And I'm rejecting them back to him to say, hey, this isn't right. You need to make sure, blah, blah, blah. So, and then he sends them back. And then when I check them again, okay, they're good. I click the button and then they get sent to you guys. So that's with a new editor. Now, of course, I can't be doing that all day because, the thousands of photos that we edit, I couldn't be sitting there checking every single photo. But once they've passed the test of, okay, this guy's consistently and reliably, doing a good job and doing what he's supposed to do on the photos, then I uncheck that button so that when he uploads the photos, they just get sent out directly to you guys. So, especially, for example, Photo Up and Fixit, they both have companies in Cebu in the Philippines, and they're employees, and it's really hard to fire an employee in the Philippines once they've become an employee. Very, very hard. The laws of if someone's not doing their job, you just can't say, I'm sorry, it's going to be your last week or last month or whatever. And so you kind of stuck that if someone you've hired turns out to be someone that doesn't really care too much about their job, you kind of stuck with them, that's one thing. Another thing is, they're looking at the watch. I'm not sure it's the end of my shift all soon. Yeah, it's the end of my shift. Whereas my guys, they're working, they're hungry. Sometimes some of my guys have started work at 5 o'clock in the morning and they're still like accepting jobs at 10 p.m. in the evening from that same day. You can't get that from someone that's an employee. They start their shift at 8, they finished at 4 or 5. That's it. They're done. They're
Sounds
gone.
like us.
Yeah, right.
So I think what I'm hearing is two things. One is your independent contractors. We're all self-employed. We understand that because it is our business, and we know that we're only as good as our last job with a client. So we're always, I think, when you say independent contractor, that means a lot to us. And does that mean something to you, Stephanie? It sounded.
Oh, yes, certainly. I absolutely agree. It's huge. You're right. And you're right. We do the same thing. I mean, the harder we work, the more we go, the more, comes out of it.
And the second thing I heard was, I forgot the second thing I heard. The second thing I heard was that you have a quality control process. So the jobs just don't immediately go from the editor to the client unless you have a confidence level that that's going to happen.
Yeah, only on new editors. On new editors that
Right.
come in, then the admin's approval is switched on, and they don't come off of admin approval until they've shown me that they are consistent.
But I'm not sure we've actually heard the answer to Stephanie's question, which was there must be more than one editor there, and yet her jobs come back consistently as if there was only one editor working on her work over multiple days.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we've certainly got more than one editor. We got seven. We got a lot of editors.
So how is it that the work comes back and it always looks like one person is edited in the style that she's happy with?
Well, I've got and I'll be the first to say, if you're shooting for Architectural Digest and you're looking for perfection, you probably want to edit the photos yourself. But then you're getting paid huge money in the first place anyway, whereas you can spend the time editing the photos yourself. You got some photographers that they can't let go entirely of the fact that the quality only needs to be a certain level because their customer can't even tell the difference between the two, number one, and number two, they're not paying the money that they're not paying for perfection. But I know this through home takes. I know, my photographers don't get to see the edits when they're done. They just go out and shoot. And I know by how many customers, how many real estate agents will say, hey, I don't like the way this photo's been edited because I own home takes. And it rarely happens. And so one of the things that I found with some customers, not all, is, that I kind of have to, I like to get onto Skype to talk with them actually, because when I talk to them and give them my experience as home takes, I think the light bulb goes off and they go, oh yeah, I never really thought of it like that. I'm like, well, yeah, really. I mean, why were you going to agonize over something that the way you've been used to editing that I'm having trouble telling the difference between what you're trying to explain to me? An agent's never going to notice that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I imagine you have some kind of job jacket for Stephanie that says this is the kind of colors she likes, this is the kind of sharpening she likes, and therefore, no matter which editor is working on it, they still have a style guide that's wicked awesome 3D.
Actually, not Dan. No, it's not the way.
Stephanie's happy. Why are your pictures always consistent across editors?
Because I have a certain standard that they have to meet. If they don't meet that standard, then they don't get used. They don't get hired. And so, it's window pulls. You can only pull from the window if you've been given enough of a window pull to start with. If you've got blown out windows on every single bracketed shot, let's say you've took 3 bracketed shots and there's not one of them that sees outside, well, then you can't pull from it. And I can't expect any, that's not magic. You can pull from dark, but you can't pull from light. Am I right there, Kevin? Stephanie?
Both within reason.
Within reason, yeah. I mean, if you've got a window brighted out and all 3 bracketed shots are all brighted out, well, then there's no detail to draw within. If it's dark, the detail's hidden in the darkness, you can at least bring that out so much more.
To some degree, but you try to pull up those dark things and the grain and the color.
You'll get grain, yeah. But what I'm saying is you can pull from dark, but you can't pull when it's bright white everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and I've had a couple of customers like, well, I need you to improve the window pull. And, I have to explain back to them, well, you can't get something from nothing if nothing's there. And I digress. I've forgotten you.
Well, let's go back to Stephanie. We'll move off that topic. I'm assuming that's part of his secret sauce. He's not going to tell us why it's consistent.
The consistency the consistency is that they have to meet a standard. If they're not meeting the standard, then they're gone. I don't use them. It's like, thank you, but no thank you.
All right. So there's your answer, Stephanie. They have to meet a standard of quality, and as a result of that, no matter whether your pictures get sent in the morning, the midday, at night, on Monday or whatever, Tuesday, Friday, they'll always come back consistently because Colin is making sure that his people meet a level of standard.
Let me give you an example. I'm going to because you pointed out something there Kevin, barrel distortion, yeah? Okay. So I have one editor, and he's on trial with me, and geez, if I didn't have to tell this guy, almost every time he got a set of photos that he uploaded to me, and he hadn't done the barrel distortion. I'm like, so I'm sending them back. You got to do the barrel distortion. So now I'm like a little worried because it's like 4 or 5 times now this has happened. So now I tell him a little bit more stronger. Look, I don't want to have to keep telling you to straighten up. You know, you got barrel distortion. You need to make oh, I made them vertical. I'm like, no. You got barrel distortion. There's a difference. Now that tells me maybe his communication, his English isn't so good. Maybe he's not quite understanding or what. So I give him a chance, but there's only so much. And then I'm like, you know what? This guy's not going to be any good because I don't want to let him loose. And, I've got a customer that doesn't want to point it out and they just get their photos back and they're not happy and then they leave and I don't know why they've left because it ends up being that somebody never, never corrected the barrel distortion. So it's like, okay, when they have to pass that test with me, it's not just like, oh, can you do a nice photo? Oh yeah, you can do a nice photo once. Oh, okay, he's good. Take him off. I'm making sure that before they're let loose, that they are consistently doing all of the things that I tell them that they have to do for us, for our standard, for our quality, and that's it. So
from there, let me go back to Stephanie, because Stephanie, you mentioned one thing that was really important to you, and that was being able to spend time with your family.
Yes, certainly.
What else has happened as a result of being able to send your pictures out to be edited, which you weren't doing before?
Well, we've definitely increased production, of course. It's way less time that I'm sitting there editing photos, and now I can email, I can pay attention to sales, I can get on marketing, I can, Instagram, upload some photos, shoot them out to this and that. So it's definitely increased our production. We have, we're doing, sometimes 4, 5, 6 houses in a day, each of us, sometimes a couple photographers out. So that's helped incredibly. And then everybody gets home, they shoot them out to photo and video edits, and we're all set. We keep going.
You wouldn't want to edit 6 jobs at the end of the day?
Yeah, no. Got to get home, got to make supper. I have basketball games to go to. I have enough other stuff that I would much rather be doing.
Now, I would imagine that of the We Get Around Network forum community, not every service provider is as busy as you are. So, and they might be tempted to say, but I know how to edit. I'm good at editing. I'm not so busy. Any thoughts for them?
I mean, the quality too. I think it comes back to quality. I think that photo and video edits gives great quality. And I guess maybe part of it is, myself and all of our photographers, we have a set, basically, a set way that we're shooting photos. We shoot brackets of 5. Colin's able to work with those and always meets our style. And where was I going with this? And so quality, I think that Colin can produce even better quality than I can with my editing. He puts, more time. These guys maybe have more time. This is what they do professionally. I don't edit professionally. So it's a lot better for me to get his quality going. And it's really increased. I mean, we've had our photos December 3rd, we had a bunch of one of our houses picked up with Boston Magazine, and the photos were featured in Boston Magazine. And so just great quality, much better than I can do myself. So it's a win-win situation for us.
And I heard you say quality, obviously, more time with family. Since you went from your team editing photos themselves, you and your partner editing photos, to now outsourcing to photo and video edits.com, has that enabled you to make more money? Because can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We can just we can hit more homes in a day. We can work with more people in a day. I can use my time doing sales and marketing and doing other things. And that definitely increases our clientele and the jobs that we're doing. Even if we pay, photo and video edits, he's very reasonable as well too. We've tried a couple other companies, and based on the amount of photos that we're sending to photo and video edits, it decreases our cost. So we send basically all of our photos because then we get a decreased rate per photo.
You mentioned Box Brownie. Were there any other companies that you recall trying?
I think we tried Photo Up. I think we tried Photo Up, and they were decent. I had no really huge complaints. There were a couple things. Sometimes there was too much vibrance going on. Just a couple simple things. And they just aren't as fast as well too. Photo and video edits is insanely fast. I think that there's always a post up on the We Get Around network. That's, am I the only client of photo and video edits? Because it certainly feels like that a lot. It's like I send my stuff in and it just gets turned around so quickly. And just what Colin was saying, a lot of times it's about mass production. I don't shoot for Architectural Digest, so I don't need the upper echelon of insane quality, but I need consistent, good, fabulous quality, and I need it fast. And that's what my clients want, and so that's what I need to give them, and that's what photo and video edits gives us. So then we can increase production and make more money. Yes.
I know you were referencing the We Get Around Network forum, a post by Metroplex 360. He writes, a friend joked that it's because, he says, I guess the headline of the post was, am I the only customer of photo and video edits.com? And he writes, a friend joked that it's because I'm their only customer. So here's the thing. If that's true, then I'm getting access to an amazing dashboard experience that is super easy to set up, upload my photos, set editing preferences, track progress, and download my images from that was just made for me. He continues, I'm super excited to have my own photo processing company that no one else uses. I found out about photo and video edits on WGAN forum, and there's an amazing promo going on that means that all the edits you see above were free. I'll talk about that promotion coming up. Yes, I didn't pay a penny for these. I would have gladly, but the insane guy who runs this site is providing a ridiculous promotion to WGAN. I think he's referring to me there, Colin. The way I see it is that you're losing money to not try this out. And Chris wanted to be with us on the show today. He's actually busy out shooting. But in yet another post, he writes, I'm happy using photo and video edits.com. I've been a rather demanding user at times for things to be exactly as I want them, and Colin has been excellent at all points. I haven't requested a revision in a month and will soon submit my 100th set of photos. Turnaround time continues to be unbeatable and quality is excellent. So Colin, I think you promise 24-hour turnaround, but I think you're actually doing much faster than that.
Yeah, when I get to, I won't say full capacity because, you always, if you can get more, you're always going to want more. But when I get to a point where I've got about the same amount of editors as what Fixer and Photo Up has got, so I'm going to consider that point at like a determined amount of capacity. I don't ever want my turnaround time to go beyond 12 hours. Now, obviously, the insanely fast turnaround times at the moment is because my customer base isn't anywhere near what Photo Ups and Fixers are. However, I don't want to go past 12 hours. I don't want to have to charge extra, and I'm not going to charge extra. It's never going to be, oh, well, if you want them in 12 hours or less, you're going to have to pay more. I'm always going to use that as the guide to never exceed, no matter how big I get. Right now, it is insanely fast. It's going to get longer, but then nobody's going to need their photos back. If you're uploading, say, Stephanie, you're uploading yours at say 6, 7 p.m. in the evening, you're not going to need them back before 6 a.m. in the morning. or 7 a.m. in the morning, because you were going to be sleeping. And so you can't get them any quicker to your customer than when you wake up and they're in your inbox and you're going to mail them. So
Stephanie, what time are you submitting your jobs typically? We have you unmuted. I'm sorry, if you could.
Sorry, thanks. Yeah, anywhere I would say between 7 to midnight.
And what has your experience been getting them back?
Yeah, they're back before I get up, and I'm usually up by 6 or 7 a.m. So
that's Eastern time. Kevin, you're on the West Coast, the
Yeah.
Pacific Standard Time.
No, exactly the same. I'm usually uploading between 7 and midnight, and they're there before I'm up in the morning. So
is there any time you feel like you want to see if Santa Claus is like, so you wake up at 3 or 4 and see if your pictures are ready? It's like, is Santa Claus coming down the chimney?
I enjoy my sleep, so I would add that another advantage working with Colin's team has been it has increased my turnaround, particularly at busy times. In the past, when I've gotten very busy with some high-end, pretty demanding clients, in order to deliver the quality work, I had to back up the delivery time just because I was so busy. Even if it was just checking things and tweaking where work came back from India that wasn't quite up to par, because I had to check everything carefully.
That's when you were using Flat World in India. Yeah.
Flat World Solutions. And Colin's work has come back more consistent and has come back faster. So it's increased my ability to deliver the photos quickly, particularly when busy. I might add, Colin, that my only silly objection was photo and video edits is a very long URL.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you know what? I do actually own quite a lot of other URLs that point towards that. But the reason for the long URL, and I know it's the number one thing, like, don't create a URL that's too long, but it says what we do, and that's the reason I chose.
No, it's great. I'm joking because of course the way browsers work now, I just start to type the word photo and your URL pops in there anyway.
And I knew that when I did it, I'm like, all browsers have got the memory thing on it, so it's not, once they've done it once, they're not going to have to do it again anyway.
But I want you to know, since we're here live, that within my own file system, I refer to your company as PAVE, P-A-V-E, because you pave the way for me to greater sanity.
There we go.
Kevin, I've done all aspects. That's the reason why I was a high-end real estate agent before I started the tour company. So I know every aspect of the real estate industry from an agent's perspective. That's what led me into home takes.
Yeah.
So because I knew what a good photo looked like, and I knew, because I was a real estate agent. It's like, okay, but I also knew as a real estate agent what was good enough for the customer.
Yeah.
So I never looked for perfection when I was getting my edits done by a company that was doing them for me when I was an agent. Because I was smart enough to know, listen, they're not paying for Architectural Digest photos. It's a house and it's going to go on a brochure. Back then, the internet was, 2001, 2002, 2003. It was in its infancy. So, the photos were going on to brochures when I was in the real estate business.
Yeah. And,
when you printed them on a brochure, as long as the verticals were straight and you could, everything looked reasonable, the customer was happy as anything, because you got a professional in to shoot their property rather than walk out with your phone and take a picture. So you was already, as an agent, in the good books of the seller because you hired somebody to come in. Right. So, but I knew that I didn't need the guy, because there were guys around that wanted $1,500 to shop Palm Beach homes at $1,500 a clip. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, I don't need to spend $1,500 to get a Architectural Digest photographer, which is what this guy had shot plenty of homes for, to shoot something for John Doe that's selling his house. I'm doing 10 times more than what any other agent that went on a listing appointment that would tell them that it was going to do for them in marketing wise by just getting a professional photographer in the first place.
Right.
So, but I know that aspect from a real estate agent's point of view, which when I went into home takes, I knew from that perspective. So I know all the steps along the way before I even got into this, this business, because I say I am you. I don't run the business anymore. My girlfriend does. I have very, very little to do with home takes anymore. My focus is 100% on this business.
Yeah.
Well, let me bring Colin. Let me bring you back to what Kevin was asking about. I think when we get off the show today, you need to go get another domain, and that's pave.com.
I got pvedits.com.
Go
PV
for it.
edits?
But if you
I
can
got pvedits.com, pvedits.com. I don't know if that's actually up and running at the moment. I bought about 17 other websites.
So go find something shorter for Kevin, and then you will have solved the only problem that he has identified for photo and video edits.
Well, there you go. You could try pvedits.com once we get off. I don't know if it's live and if it's redirected.
Well, you could just take PV edits and forward it to photo and video edits.
What I want to know is if Kevin, do you charge extra for rush services? And therefore, have you? How about you, Stephanie? No, I was just curious of whether you've been able to get your work back sooner and be able to charge a premium for that because you're delivering presumably in the morning.
Yeah, the expectation is that the turnaround on photos is, well, a lot of the jobs that I do, I'm doing, the average home is probably $3.5 million, and I'm hired to do high-end photos, a professionally shot and edited video with drone footage and so forth. Those I generally edit myself. Matterport or some other 3D walkthrough as these systems are expanding now. But I most commonly do a whole spectrum of materials, and I tell people that you'll get the photos back in about 24 hours. The Matterport will be in 48, although it could be delivered faster, but I usually say 48 so that I can tweak the program and walkthrough. And the video will take another day or two after that.
Yeah, I just wonder if you get your photos, Stephanie, if you get your photos back at 6 a.m. and you're up at 6 a.m, do you hold the pictures until later in the day so that the clients, even though you got them, so you don't have the client's expectations that they're always going to get them at 6 a.m. when you wake up, or 8 a.m. after you've had breakfast, or you'll send them when you got them?
Yeah, we don't, because I get all the photos back in the morning, and I generally have to be at a shoot by 9 or 10 a.m. So I get up, shoot them right out. Kind of like Colin was saying, it's a 24-hour limit. We do a 48-hour limit because basically, because we do a lot of Matterport and floor plans with it too. So, I say up to 48 hours, but if I can get it in there fast, and which we usually always do, and that's dependability, that's client expectation. And I just feel like all my clients are like, yes, this is amazing. They never second guess it. They never go to anyone else. If I can provide better customer service, better quality, faster, then I just keep my clientele, and it works for both of us, works for everyone.
Under promise and over deliver. That's what I did with home takes as well. I said we got a 48-hour turnaround time. Matter of fact, it still says that on the website, 48-hour turnaround time. They get them the next day, and they have come to expect them the next day, but they get them the next day. And on the rare occasion, maybe the videographer screwed up and accidentally deleted the video files or whatever. And he's had to go out and get an exterior shot. Does it ever roll over into that 48-hour? And we apologize, but we still meet the 48-hour per deadline. But the customer's understandable enough. Even if you don't get the one or two, they understand. Hey, no problem. It's not a problem. You're really great. You always get back to me the next day. Nobody's perfect.
Kevin, are you holding back on delivering, even if you get them first thing in the morning?
I usually deliver in about 24 hours. I download Colin's pictures. Oh, I wanted to add that likewise, Colin's entire infrastructure in terms of uploading and monitoring the progress on jobs and so forth is much better than any other system that I had exposure to it previously. So that's another thing I love about his service. I generally, no, I generally deliver them in about 24 hours. It's not that I'm, it's for no reason other than the clients that call me are oftentimes have staged a home professionally. They may have dropped between 5,000 and 10,000, and sometimes that staging cost is split between the agent and the homeowner. They're investing a lot of money in their all forms of marketing in terms of brochures and so forth. And so when they call me for a shoot, usually I get a call a week and a half to 2 weeks before they intend on the listing going live, because they want a whole plethora of things delivered.
Got it. So they don't even need it immediately anyway, because they're working on a lot of other things.
Yeah, he's working a completely different market.
Yeah.
One that when I very first started off in home takes that I went after, and I realized that's not a market that I want to deal with. I don't have the experience to produce, because I'm sure your pricing is not the same as Stephanie's or my pricing is home takes with your clientele. And so it's a completely different market that he's got, different clientele.
Kevin, going back to that you have tried other photo editing services and outsource. Are there other things that come to mind about what you like better about photoandvideoedits.com versus other outsourcing companies that you have used?
Nothing that Colin hasn't, or someone, or Stephanie haven't mentioned in the past. The language thing was never a big problem, because the people that I interfaced with at the company in India spoke very good English, or wrote very good English. The consistency is the big thing. That's probably the single biggest thing as far as what matters to me, and why I'm a fan.
Sorry, did you ever have an issue where a client needed it back really fast and you had to pay a premium for the photo editing?
No. Because there again, my clients are much more plan ahead, because
how about in terms of the content management system? Sorry, it's my turn to be annoying. Let me turn off my phone here. I think it's dinging in the background.
The communication management, the delivery, the uploading and delivery on Colin's system, I did sometimes have problems before they had. Initially, when I was working with the company in India, they used, we used uploaders through like Fetch and things like that to get onto to send things to their servers, but it wasn't as user friendly as what Colin has set up.
Can you describe that? Is that experience for you? Has that been a good thing in terms of how his content management system works?
It's just much better. My only problem, if you remember, Colin, way back at the beginning, some of the answer back emails and so forth were, I just couldn't get them not to go to my spam or trash folders or something when they were coming back from his company. And so we had to fiddle with some email addresses and stuff until that was dependably working. But that was the only issue whatsoever. I love how your system works, and it's even you upload a whole bunch of pictures. I typically upload not exclusive sets. Like I don't shoot 4 bracketed shots for everything. If I know that a particular scene, all the detail is well contained within a single raw exposure's dynamic range, then I'll upload one shot. So at the end of a long shoot, I usually have maybe a dozen shots that are single exposure, maybe another dozen shots that are double or triple exposure, and maybe 20 shots that are four exposures. And so I
can make that easier for you.
Well, your system already is pretty easy, because
but I can make it even easier for you, and it'd actually be it's easier for you actually. It doesn't, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do on your end, correct, with not uploading mixed batches, which is
Right.
Which is something that I'm still can't get the system programmed to reject everything, because still a lot of people will do that, and we can't work with that.
I think you're
It actually
speaking,
creates a nightmare.
Colin, hang on a sec, because I think you're speaking in shorthand there. So you ideally like people to upload a job where there are 3 bracketed images and that's it, or there are 5 bracketed images and that's it, or
It's
7.
the only way the system will work in actual fact, because if you upload, let's say you've took 45 photos, and out of that 45 photos, some are in brackets of 3 and some are in brackets of 4, and you upload that as one job, we can't process it.
Yeah, it won't work
on our end. It's like, you know.
But I find your system. I find your system very easy to use, because when I have, like, if I've got some singles, some triples, and some quads, then I just select, I've got 3 jobs to upload. And,
Right.
and I use the address 123 Main Street. I do 123 Main Street 1s, 123
Yep.
Main Street 3s, and 123 Main Street 4s. And it works perfect.
But let me say, I can actually make it easier for you out in the field.
Yeah.
Set it to 4 and take everything on 4. Then that way you don't have to sort it when you get back up. You just got one address, drag and drop for each one of them. Let that be the work on our end of how many they actually need to use to make the best of it. Just shoot them all on the same set of bracketed shots, and you'll create yourself less work, because now you don't have to create one for ones and then sort out in the folders and drag this set of 3s with this set of 3s over there and those set of 4s, and then upload each of the jobs separately.
Yeah.
Just give it.
Does that work for you, Kevin?
Well, I see every photo that comes back, including everything that I shoot that goes to Colin, I drop into Lightroom to take a quick look at it. And because when I'm out there shooting, for example, sometimes I'll shoot 4 bracketed shots in a living room, and then I suddenly notice that one of the drapes is in a funny position or something. So I've got to go back and I've got to adjust the drapes and then shoot that bracketed set again. So I need to look at everything that I shoot in Lightroom once to send to Colin only the shots that I really want corrected.
If you shot 4, any reason you still couldn't do that?
Well, the point is I still have to go through and I have to edit out, reject essentially from sending to him the shots that were total boo-boos. You know,
okay, let
like
me
if
ask you a question.
The dog walked into the shot or something.
So have you seen the show where where I talked about editing on the fly?
No.
No, Stephanie, you're nodding your head. Yes. Did you see that show?
Quickly, but I took a couple notes, definitely.
I never do
it
anything
on
quickly,
the fly.
Stephanie. But Kevin, you have homework, because Colin talks about best practices for shooting real estate photography. And even though you've been doing this for a long time, and I was totally blown away with Colin's workflow, which makes it super simple and super easy, which will save you a lot of time when you get back in terms of looking at your pictures that you've been doing. Colin, just give him one example.
Oh, you want to
The dog
edit it
walked into the picture. The dog walked into the picture.
Okay, dog walks into the picture. You know it's a picture you can't shoot, yeah? So rather than leave it on the camera, delete. That's it. Get rid of it right there and then. So that when you go back, the only photos you've got on your camera are the ones you want to get edited.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it just saves so much time of having to do. I mean, wouldn't ideally you like to be able to go back and say, okay, everything I've taken on that I've shot today, it's just going straight to photo and video edits. I don't have to even upload them and look at every one of them in Lightroom to decide, oh yeah, I don't want that set of shots.
We won't go into it in great detail today, but it's a great show. WGAN-TV live at 5. Best practices on photo shooting and editing with photo and video edits.com founder Colin Forte. If you go into the We Get Around Network forum in the search box and just search on WGAN-TV photo and video edits.com, you'll pull up the video. It's a great show for everyone. We did a companion one, which is the best practices for shooting real estate video as well. And that workflow is amazing.
Yeah, but that won't apply to that definitely will not apply to Kevin.
Yeah.
He's
That,
an
yes,
artist, and
that's right. But for
yeah.
the rest of us, yes. I think what I'd like to do is a couple more things before we finish up. I'm going to ask both Stephanie and Kevin to think about the 30-second shout out that you'd like to do for Colin, and we'll do that as part of our show. But I wanted to read, and then I'm going to get into some special offers we have. But I wanted to read just two more We Get Around Network forum posts, love letters. Howard from 3D Views in the greater New York area in Brooklyn. He was not able to join us today, but he writes, "Hey all, photoandvideoedits.com has been doing a great job. I've already had over 20 jobs and they're worth every penny. Thanks to them, I got to go to a concert that I could not have attended if I had to work at night editing shots." And he talks about the concerts that he loved, and he was only able to do that because of photo and video edits. And then Open House Optics writes, "I've been using him for a couple of months now, and I'm a fan. Colin is super responsive, and I've been able to spend more time prospecting for new business with 6 new agents brought on since switching to him, and a nomination for Best of Photographer since starting to use his services. He's very accommodating too because of an on the job." He talks about an injury that resulted in how he shoots a little bit off kilter, and Colin's able to solve that problem. So I just thought maybe we could just do, I've heard a number of reasons why you all have liked working with photo and video edits in terms of freeing up time to do more shoots, freeing up time to do more business development, freeing up time for family, perhaps better or equal or better quality. But I thought maybe if you could just take, up to 30 seconds, speak right to Colin, and just reintroduce yourself, your name, your company name, and why you love working with photo and video edits.com. This will be Colin's Valentine come early. Stephanie, how about we start with you?
Okay. All right. So my name is Stephanie Dolliff. I'm with Wicked Awesome 3D. We are photography, virtual tour, Matterport providers in New England and in North Carolina, and we definitely love photo and video edits. Colin, your company is amazing. You've helped us to increase production, save time, become more efficient with our workload. Great consistency all around. Your platform is amazing, easy to work with. Every time I contact you, you get right back to me. Even if I haven't contacted you, you're always like, "Hey, Steph, you have extra credits here. Why don't you come and grab them? Let's not waste them." So I really, really love everything that you've done for us. You've really helped us out a ton, and we are very, very grateful. So thank you so much.
Colin, you want to say anything back to your admirer here?
Yeah, the reason I gave it a break there, Dan, is I think you can get the video from each one of these individually, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because then, Stephanie, now you've just done your testimonial. So it's the perfect studio to do it in. And Kevin, you're going to do yours. But let me just answer you first, Stephanie. I want to thank both of you right now up front for actually coming on this show. It's above and beyond the Call of Duty as a show of appreciation that I could ever wish for. And I just want to thank you guys very, very much for your business and for the niceness of coming on today's show.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And Kevin?
Maybe I'll take off my Mickey Mouse here so I don't look so silly.
That's fine. It's fine.
I won't be able to hear back while I'm talking, but I'll give it a shot here.
Okay.
Colin, I just want to thank you for.
Wait. One more. Headset.
Pardon?
Tell us your name. Tell us your company.
Oh, yes, right.
Where you work, and then tell us your 30-second story.
Stephanie's so much better at this than I am.
And you can take your headset off now if you want.
Okay. This is Kevin Dole of Home3D.us in Los Angeles, California. I've been working, providing Matterport and professional photography and high-end production video for largely high-end clients in the areas of Bel Air and Beverly Hills and Malibu and the San Fernando Valley for about 4 or 5 years now. And I've been working with Colin for close to 6 months now, sending all of my still photos to him for processing. The work has been consistent. That's the number one thing. When the photos come back flawless, 99% of the time. And when an occasional shot, something catches my attention and I ask it, by the time I click, take a look at this again, if I get up and make myself coffee, the thing seems to be back fixed. The turnaround is so fast. It's an amazing service. The interface is so easy to use. Response time is so quick, the turnaround. And if I've ever had any technical questions, Colin's answered it properly, straightened out the issue, and it's just been an amazing service. So much better than any such photo processing service that I've used in the past. So, Colin, can't thank you enough. Keep up the great work, and I hope a little testimonial like this helps more people to discover your service.
Colin, you got anything to add?
Okay, now he's put his headphones on. I can.
Yeah, anything to?
No, I just, hey, you got somebody here, obviously, that cares passionately. First of all, I have a great passion for what I do. I think you have to have passion to do, to be the best at what you want to put your mind to and be. And I've got that. I've definitely got the passion. There's no question about that. And I work a lot of hours. I work a lot of hours. I work very hard, and I care. That's the main thing. I truly do care. So a lot of the time, a lot of the time people don't even know. I'll end it with this. Oh, I've had some freak out mornings when I've woken up. I'm like, all the photos. Where are all the photos? I've had 10 uploads the other day. This happened. I've had 10 uploads. How come some of the photos have been worked on? And then I've realized there was a little glitch in our system that something that the first person uploaded, and it stopped everything else from uploading. And all I'm caring about is like my turnaround time. I'm like, so I'm on the phone straight away. I'm on Skype to my developer. I have a full-time developer, by the way, for my website. And I'm on there to him. I said, hey, emergency, like, got to get this fixed. Customers are waiting, and nobody knew anything about it. They got their customers back because I care. A lot of other people are, oh yeah, let me get to that. And they'll just let them be late, or not late, but they may have got them in 24 hours. And that to me is not a goal. Even though it's our guarantee, it's not a goal to go, oh, okay, well, we still got them within 24 hours. I mean, I don't want it to affect my really quick turnaround time. I still want them to get them very, very quickly. So it's you've got somebody that cares truly, that's got the passion. So that's what I'm attributing the very nice comments I'm hearing from you guys.
Cool. And I just wanted to go over 3 special offers that we have for We Get Around Network Forum members. Incidentally, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel or on the Apple podcast app, go visit the We Get Around Network Forum, wegetaroundnetworkforum.com. Join us. It's free. There's about 30 membership benefits just for joining the free forum. One of them is Colin at photoandvideoedits.com will provide you with 50 free credits. That's enough for edit 50 photos. As a We Get Around Network forum member, he's extended an offer so that in your second month that you get an additional 50 free credits. And to get that promo code, join the We Get Around Network forum, you'll automatically get an email from me and it'll have that special offer. Second, if you're a We Get Around Network standard or premium member, you can receive 35 additional credits in months 2 through 11, provided that you are on a photoandvideoedits.com plan of 200 credits or more a month. And then third, there's a really cool free widget on the photoandvideoedits.com website. So, you saw some of the pictures, the kind of the before pictures that Kevin has, and then the after pictures. You can get a free widget that shows you the before photos and the after photos, and it's already preloaded with examples. You just simply go to photoandvideoedits.com, look for the photo widget with the before and after, and in the caption, it simply says, click here if you'd like to get this free widget. You enter your email address and the iframe code so you can embed it in your website gets emailed to you immediately. And I think that's a really cool widget to show the before and after. I mean, all of us probably cringe when we think of real estate agents that are not photographers shooting their own pictures. But even us as photographers shooting our own pictures, it's really important that we edit our pictures. And this photoandvideoedits.com widget really shows the difference of before and after, and there's no branding on it that says photoandvideoedits.com. Colin's been gracious enough to offer that as a free tool to the community, so take advantage of that. I just to wrap up, is Stephanie, or you got any questions for Colin, or?
No, not too many. I mean, I still feel like I'm still exploring the site a little bit. There's, more to learn. You offer so much on your platform, so it's great. And we'll definitely always keep using you. We love it.
Thank you.
Kevin, anything for Colin?
Colin, just thanks for the great service. Hope 2019 is great for your growing company, and just keep up the great work.
Thank you. And to you both, hope 2019, a happy new year to you. It's going to be good for all, I think.
Yeah, so happy new year to everybody. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us on the show. Kevin, much appreciated. Colin, you too. And thank you all for watching. We've recorded the show in case you missed any portion of it. We'll publish it in the We Get Around Network forum within 24 hours. Overpromise, underdeliver. So within 24 hours, we will publish it in the We Get Around Network forum, and it'll also air on the WGAN-TV podcast. Just search the Apple podcast for WGAN-TV podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network forum, and you've been visiting with myself in Atlanta, Stephanie in the greater Boston area, Kevin in the greater Los Angeles area. Colin is traveling today, and he is in the United Kingdom, in the greater England area. Thanks again for tuning in, and enjoy your day. And
thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
And I've stopped